There are 5 signs the rebel archetype is quietly running your life without your permission. Most adults exhibit at least 3. By the end of this video, you will know which ones describe you. You will not find this taught in mainstream psychology, but Carl Jung mapped it almost a century ago. The rebel lives inside every human psyche. It is the part of you that refuses to be domesticated. When integrated, the rebel becomes your fiercest ally. When unconscious, it sabotages every life you try to build. Tonight, we decode the 5 signals it is steering your decisions from the shadows. Stay with me. By the end, you will recognize yourself in at least one of these. The first sign is this. You feel an instinctive resistance to anyone who tells you what to do. A boss gives a reasonable instruction. A partner makes a calm request. Yet something inside you tightens. You comply on the outside, but on the inside, you are already plotting your quiet refusal. This is not preference. This is a reflex. The rebel archetype activates before you can think clearly. Jungian would say this part of you carries the unlived freedom of every ancestor who obeyed too long. Picture this. Someone at work asks you to follow a new procedure. Your shoulders rise before they finish speaking. You are not reacting to the procedure. You are reacting to the felt sense of being controlled. If you notice yourself doing this often, you are not difficult. You are encountering an unintegrated rebel. The cost is invisible. You lose jobs slowly. You exit relationships abruptly. You leave good things prematurely. The second sign is more subtle. You sabotage the very structures you say you want. You want the steady relationship. Yet the moment it becomes steady, you pick a fight that risks everything. You want the disciplined career. Yet the closer you get to mastery, the more you start showing up late. This is not laziness. This is the rebel sensing a cage being built around you, even when you built it. But Jung discovered something even more uncomfortable about this pattern. The unconscious rebel cannot tell the difference between a prison and a structure that would set you free. It treats every commitment as a chain. So, it gnaws at your own life from the inside. Picture this. You finally land the relationship you prayed for. Within months, you feel restless and trapped. You blame the partner. You blame the timing. You blame yourself. The real culprit is unseen. The rebel is doing what it was hired to do at age 7. Protect you from being absorbed. The third sign is one almost no one names. You identify yourself by what you are against. Ask yourself honestly, can you describe who you are without naming what you reject? If your identity collapses without an enemy, you are wearing the rebel as a persona. The Jungians have a name for this. They call it possession by an archetype. You think you are choosing your values, but the rebel is choosing them through opposition. Whatever the mainstream embraces, you instinctively dismiss. Whatever your parents valued, you instinctively invert. This feels like freedom. It does not. It is a leash held by the very thing you are rebelling against. Carl Jung wrote that the man who only opposes a crowd is still ruled by the crowd. Comment below with a single word if this lands. Just write mirror, then keep watching. Because what comes next is the sign most people refuse to see in themselves. The fourth sign is romantic. You are drawn to people who represent freedom and bored by people who offer safety. The artist who cannot commit, the traveler who never settles, the intensity that always leaves. You call this passion, you call this aliveness, you call this knowing your worth. But notice the pattern. The available partner feels suffocating. The unavailable partner feels electric. This is the rebel projecting itself outward through the anima or animus. You are not falling in love with a person. You are falling in love with your own unlived freedom. If you have ever wondered why the wrong people feel right, this is your answer. Picture this. A kind, present partner sits across from you at dinner. You feel a faint deadness. Then a text arrives from someone chaotic and unavailable. Your nervous system lights up like a city. The rebel calls that aliveness. Jung would call it the projection of a part you have not claimed. You are searching outside for permission to be the wild version of yourself you abandoned at 13. The fifth sign is the quietest. You feel a low, constant resentment that has no clear source. It is not depression. It is not grief. It is a steady hum of being slightly betrayed by life. You move through your days competent and functional, but underneath, something in you is sulking. This is the rebel turned inward. When it cannot fight the world, it broods inside you. Stay with me here. This next part will explain something about yourself you have never been able to articulate. The unintegrated rebel needs an enemy to feel alive. When there is no enemy, it manufactures one. So you become quietly cynical, quietly contemptuous, quietly suspicious of everyone who seems content. You scroll through other people's lives and feel a faint disdain you would never admit out loud. That disdain is not about them. It is the rebel inside you, starving for a fight worth having. What I am about to share next is a practice that integrates this archetype slowly and honestly. But first, let us look at the common thread running through all 5 signs. In every case, the rebel is doing the same job, protecting an early version of you that felt powerless. Somewhere in your childhood, freedom was threatened, maybe by a controlling parent, maybe by a rigid system. A young part of you decided then, no one will ever cage me again. I will resist everything. That decision saved you. It preserved a flame that would have been extinguished by full compliance. But the child who made that vow does not know you are now an adult with choices. So the rebel keeps fighting wars that ended decades ago, with people who are not your captors. This is the part most modern therapy never addresses. The rebel is not a problem to fix. It is an ally that was hired too young, given too much power, and never updated on the situation. Jung called the work of meeting these inner figures individuation, the slow becoming of who you actually are. Not the obedient one, not the rebellious one, the integrated one, who can choose either freely. So how do you begin? Not by suppressing the rebel. Suppression only makes it louder underground. You begin by listening, by sitting down with this part of yourself and asking it a question. Here's the practice. Tonight, find 10 quiet minutes alone, no phone, no distractions, just a chair. Imagine the rebel part of you sitting across from you. Picture it however it arrives. Maybe it is a teenager with crossed arms. Maybe it is a wild figure with broken chains. Ask it one question, out loud or in writing. What are you protecting me from right now? Then listen without arguing. Let it speak. Let it complain. Let it rage if it needs to. You are not trying to defeat it. You are trying to learn what it has been guarding all these years. After 10 minutes, write down one thing it told you, one fear, one memory, one refusal. Do this for 7 nights. By the end of the week, the rebel will feel less like an enemy. It will start to feel like a part of you that finally has a seat at the table. When integrated, the rebel becomes discernment instead of reaction, courage instead of contrarianism. You stop fighting structures that serve you. You start fighting only the cages that actually constrain you. You can commit to a relationship without feeling devoured, build a career without feeling owned, hold values that align with the mainstream when they are right and oppose them when they are wrong. This is the gift of the integrated rebel, not the absence of fire, the wisdom of where to aim it. Your rebel is not your enemy. It is the keeper of a freedom you were not allowed to claim as a child. It has been waiting your entire adult life for you to turn around and finally listen. Tonight, give it 10 minutes. Tomorrow, notice how your resistance softens by a single degree. That single degree is the beginning of individuation, the lifelong path of becoming whole. If this video names something in you, subscribe to the Archetype Code. We decode one hidden part of your psyche each week. And remember this, what you resist persists, what you face transforms, what you integrate becomes power. This is the Jungian way, this is the work, and the work begins the moment you stop running from yourself.